former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was on Sky News over the weekend. And you might remember him as the BFF of George W. Bush, who was enthusiastic in aiding Bush's war on terror, much to the chagrin of anti-war activists within his own country and internationally. He still has the gall to speak on these issues, despite being a national embarrassment for these positions and much of the British population having deep resentment for their own involvement in an illegal war, and also in Afghanistan, but particularly in Iraq, of course, as other nations like France disengage when they realize how much of a fool's errand and how faulty the intelligence was coming out of the Bush administration and their bloodthirstiness. But, you know, he's consistent, Tony Blair. Here's his response to Biden's withdrawal out of Afghanistan.
Look, our troops were fantastic in Afghanistan, and a lot of them made the ultimate sacrifice. A lot of them were injured. And it's really important that they know that this wasn't a hopeless endeavor, and it wasn't a bad cause. It was a good cause.
Pause it. Oh, like that just boils my blood, right? It's important that they know that they didn't die in vain, essentially, that this was a good cause. You know who the onus is on for that? You. It's on the powerful people to, if you don't have an anti-war position on principle, only send troops into wars that you feel are just. He still believes this. He still believes that the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq serve some purpose, which is like some sort of mental disorder or derangement that I can't fully understand. One that protects his own ego, probably. Like, you have to work backwards from that. But, like, no, that's on you. That's not on the continuation of a war that was faulty from its outset. It's on the decision makers at the beginning to make that choice. And you made the wrong choice.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Blair's a guy who he's motivated to say that they made the ultimate sacrifice because he put them into a pointless sacrifice.
Right. Well, he has to ascribe meaning to their sacrifice. Otherwise, he looks like the sociopath that he is. So that was an early posit, but maybe just start it from the beginning, Bradley, because, like, damn, he came out hot. And thus I responded in kind.
Look, our troops were fantastic in Afghanistan, and a lot of them made the ultimate sacrifice. A lot of them were injured. And it's really important that they know that this wasn't a hopeless endeavor, and it wasn't a bad cause. It was a good cause. You know, we went there because we had a state of Afghanistan turned in to a state that was run by an extremist Islamist group that were harboring people who were carrying out attacks, you know, like the 9/11 attack.
Okay, I'm pause it. I'm sorry. Bradley, I'm so sorry. This is going to be a million posits. How did it turn into this Taliban state? How did it turn into a state run by religious extremists? Could it have been the fact that we funded and armed those very religious extremists under the guise of combating the Soviet Union and communism, giving them rise to power and allowing for that kind of ecosystem to flourish? What could, like...
The Taliban turned into having a meeting with Ronald Reagan.
Right. Yeah, they... Oh, God, right. It's just like the way that things evolve. You know, you never know how it's going to happen. Seasons change. Tides come in, tides go out. Made. Taliban comes to Ronald Reagan's offices. Taliban leaves with weapons and money. You can't explain that. Continue.
Terrorist groups around the world. We went in there for very good reasons, and we achieved a lot thanks to those British and American and other armed forces over the last 20 years. And what I'd say to them is the sacrifice was not in vain. Those 20 years, by the way, matter. You know, what we achieved in Afghanistan matters today. I actually spoke yesterday to an Afghan general who himself was fighting the Taliban just literally days ago. And he said, you know, do not forget, We made huge progress during those 20 years. My generation has grown up knowing something different from the Taliban, and we're determined at some stage and in some way to get our country back. So I think it's really important that people realize that the story of Afghanistan and the story of the Taliban takeover, it's not over. It's tragic what's happened. I think it's unnecessary.
In any way,
I think we made a serious mistake in doing this in this way, but it isn't over yet.
What a creep. He should be investigated for war crimes himself.
No, it isn't over yet. No. I'm just basically mentally deranged.
He said as the Taliban takes over the whole country, it might appear as if we didn't do anything. But I tell you what, when you wish upon a star...
You wake up and the Taliban is far behind me.
An Afghan general might be wishing upon that same star.
Yes, and maybe if we each throw a quarter into the fountain, one Taliban throws a quarter in, I throw a quarter in, then we switch bodies, and then I will be able to implement the British Parliament in Afghanistan, and that is what our operations there entail. So we're just hoping for a Freaky Friday-like type situation. As long as we keep troops in Afghanistan a little bit longer, we'll be able to achieve our goals. It was not in vain. It was not in vain. I don't even know what else to say at that point. Like,
I mean, this is a bit glib, but it sounds like Hitler saying that. We showed the French people we accomplished a lot there, and we're not there anymore. D-Day was bad for us, but we showed them what a different world could look like.
All right. Fucking that fucking
It turned
guy.
into that. It turned into a place where these fundamentalists had all these guns. We had to do
literally days ago.
Literally.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.